Hello everyone and welcome to week 3 of the TBL. Your New York Empoleons are having a little bit of trouble getting started in this league, but I think we finally got the matchup we wanted. So I spent a little bit more time than I have been the past couple weeks team building for the TBL, making sure that I'm ready to go for this matchup. A loss at this point really does reflect on me, not on my inability to play with this team. So I can't keep making excuses forever. A couple weeks, kind of in the gutter right now, but we got to bounce back here. We got a matchup against Midnight Wolf and the Suffolk Skuntanks, and he is a new member of the league. He does competitive videos on YouTube, so I know he knows what he's doing. He's 1-1 right now, so I think, this is a good chance for us to get back on our feet. His team is horrifying, though. Tapu Koko, Nihiligo, Como-O, Porygon 2, Donphan, Blastoise, Mismagius, Sigilif, Meganium, Zangoose, and Mega Scizor. Now, while it's really scary and he's got a lot of threats on his team, he also does miss a few. He's got some good speed tiers, he's got some good type coverages, but in my opinion, I actually have a fairly decent matchup against a lot of his team, especially his upper tier threats, and that makes me really happy. In fact, Tapu Lele hits his team super hard with the Psychium Z, seeing as he has no dark type to be immune to Psyshock. And his only thing that can outspeed are Tapu Koko, Nihiligo, and Mismagius, none of which love handling a Tapu Lele. Now, I am going to be running Moonblast, Psyshock, Skill Swap, and Hidden Power Fire with that Psychium Z. We're running 180 speed, which allows us to outspeed a max speed Como-O, so not a timid or a jolly Como-O every time. And it allows me to outspeed everything on his team if I can get to +1. Now you'll note that I am not bringing Sticky Webs, I don't have it on this team. In fact, what I'm doing is Psychium Z Skill Swap gives you a +1 speed in addition to changing your ability out. Now, Psychium Z Skill Swap allows me to grab Technician for the Hidden Power Fire from Mega Scizor if I want it, Levitate if I want it from Mismagius, I could grab Sturdy from Donphan, I could grab Beast Boost from Nihiligo, and all that to say, I could grab Wonder Guard from Sigilif. All that to say, he's got some really good abilities on his team, and I intend to take them. Psychium Z Skill Swap does give me that +1, which allows me to outspeed everything on his team at this speed, as long as it's not Choice Scarfed. And otherwise, if I don't decide I want to go with that +1 speed on the Skill Swap, I can Psychium Z Psyshock and do a huge chunk of damage to just about anything on his team, as long as the Psychic Terrain is up. Hidden Power Fire obviously handles that Mega Scizor, that's really all it's for, but otherwise my stab moves don't cover it. My stab moves cover almost everything else. Psyshock can destroy Tapu Koko, Nihiligo, Como-O, obviously all those don't like taking Psyshock. You've got things that, like Como-O, don't want to take a Moonblast. If their Psychic Terrain is not up for whatever reason, then I can click Moonblast. It's a little bit stronger than Psyshock on a lot of those things. Obviously it does more to Sigilif as well. So this thing handles a lot of his team. I am expecting this to come in and be a sweeper late game, or mid game at least, to set up with that Skill Swap. Try to maybe, if I know he's in with the Sigilif, and I think he's going to go for that switch the status around move, which the name of which I cannot remember right now, then I know I can just click Skill Swap, get the Magic Guard. He's going to start taking burn damage from his own Flame Orb, and I get to not take any because of Wonder Guard, and be at +1 speed, and have the Psychic Terrain, and just love every situation that's happening. Next up, we have Golem the Clay Doll. It's holding the leftovers, going to be rocking Earthquake, Rapid Spin, Toxic, Stealth Rock, max special defense, max defense, but a plus special defense nature to ensure that Porygon 2 doesn't download special attack. Earthquake, Rapid Spin, Toxic, Stealth Rock makes this thing extremely, it does not handle Sigilif at all. It is not my Sigilif answer in any way. I have other answers to Sigilif if he does bring it. But since Sigilif and Mismagius are his only two things that are immune to Earthquake, this thing has Toxic for the Mismagius and otherwise switches out on the Sigilif if it comes in. This thing can handle a Meganium decently well. It can handle the Donphan decently well with Toxic and Levitate, so it can't hit me with a stab move, although I do have to watch out for a knockoff. Toxic can hit the Porygon 2, it can hit the Como-O, it can hit the Tapu Koko, so this thing does answer a lot of his team, but really what it was there for was Rapid Spin and Stealth Rocks. Earthquake and Toxic were more of tech moves for it, just to cover as many threats as possible. Now again, really doesn't do anything to Sigilif, but he can't necessarily know that because I could have Rock or Ice coverage on it, so he can't necessarily bring in the Sigilif safely on this thing. But at the same time, doesn't do anything to Sigilif. Although if I do get it in and talk to the Sigilif and he doesn't Psycho Shift, that's the name. If he doesn't Psycho Shift the status back to me, Tapu Lele could come in and wonder, skill swap and get rid of the Magic Guard, and then he gets Toxic. Now, next up, for the first time on the New York Empoleon, we are bringing New York the Empoleon. It's going to be holding a Focus Sash. It's going to be a crazy set this week. Aquajet, Earthquake, Knockoff, Swords Dance, Max Attack, Adamant Nature. With 164 speed, allows to outspeed uninvested Meganium, as well as uninvested Mega Scizor, Blastoise, Donphan, and Porygon 2. Now, I do not quite outspeed Como-O no matter what, but it wasn't worth putting more speed in and taking out more of the bulk that I had in this thing. It naturally has more special defense than physical defense, so I didn't have to worry about Porygon 2 downloading the wrong thing. And after one Swords Dance, Aquajet can destroy some things on his team. Absolutely obliterate some stuff, including the Nihilego. It does a ton to Donphan. Plus 2 Knockoff can hit some of these things super hard, like Mismagius. And Earthquake hits the Tapu Koko. If I wanted to hit the Nihilego on a switch in or something, it can hit the Mega Scizor as hard as anything else in this set. So I thought about running Liquidation, but Aquajet seemed really important. I don't have any other form of priority on this team, and I really wanted to make sure this thing, could switch in, so I wanted to make sure I had the Rocks and the Defog on something else so that the Focus Sash remains intact. This thing has Torrent with that Focus Sash, so that Aquajet's doing even more damage if I'm at low health. Now, obviously, his Stealth Rockers, he's got Donphan, and he's got... I don't remember if Como-O gets it, but I think it does, and then he's got Nihilego. So he does have a bunch of possible options for Stealth Rockers, and however, I could lead with this thing. If he leads with the Donphan, it's not safe against this. He probably doesn't want to take a Scald. And so I could just set up a Swords Dance on the predicted switch. Now, that's not a perfectly safe thing, and I'm probably not going to do it, but I could. It's an option. So next up, we have Sparkles the Jolteon. It's going to be Choice Specs Jolteon this week with 140 speed and a timid nature, which allows to outspeed a modest Tapu Koko. And it doesn't outspeed a timid Tapu Koko, but whatever. Now, its speed is also going to allow it to outspeed anything else in his team, no matter what. It's got max special attack and the choice specs. Everything else was dumped into HP just for bulk. Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ground, and Shadow Ball will be the set we're running this week. Hidden Power Ground specifically for the Nihilego and really nothing else. Maybe the Tapu Koko a little bit, but Thunderbolt against the Tapu Koko in electric terrain is like 70% of its health. And this thing can wall Tapu Koko. I went back and forth on this thing a lot about whether or not I wanted to run it with Quick Feet to handle the Sigilif as a perfectly free switch in to get the Quick Feet up with the choice specs. I could make it a modest nature at that point. I get that burn and I get to outspeed the Tapu Koko. Or did I want to run Volt Absorb to really just shut down the Tapu Koko? And I decided on Volt Absorb to shut down the Tapu Koko because that thing is more threatening to me. I still don't really care if I take a burn from a Sigilif. I still outspeed it. So if I do switch this thing in straight to the Sigilif, it can't really touch me. Especially if it hasn't started setting up yet. Thunderbolt's a 2-hit KO, even with Cosmic Power under its belt. And so, if I switch in, he Cosmic Powers, I Thunderbolt, he Cosmic Powers, I Thunderbolt again, he's dead. And so I'm not super worried about the Sigilif burning me. The chip damage sucks, but this thing really just wants to Volt Switch and get out. Hidden Power Ground is there in case I know the Nihilego is going to come in to try to take a Volt Switch or something, and the Shadow Ball is there for Mismagius. I don't know. I didn't really have a fourth move for this thing. Next up, we have Carl the Weezing with the Black Sludge, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, Fire Blast, and Sludge Bomb. Fire Blast is required in order to OHKO Mega Scizor. I know, maybe I should just go Flamethrower, but I hate missing that OHKO by that little bit of damage, and Flamethrower didn't even have a chance to OHKO, where Fire Blast was a guaranteed OHKO, and I was like, but I have to try. So, 244 HP, 12 special attack, and 252 plus nature special defense. I thought about running a non-max defense one so that the Porygon 2 doesn't download special attack, but I just couldn't be bothered. I didn't think I wanted to take away from the general physical bulk of this because I also do want it to handle a physical Como-O set, Mega Scizor, and Zangoose, so I couldn't just take away from its physical defense. So Porygon 2 is a problem for this thing. I don't have the Toxic on it, but I do have the Pain Split, and I know I can take 2 Tri-Attacks even from +1, so I can take 1, Sludge Bomb, take another Pain Split, or take 1 Will-O-Wisp, take another Pain Split, whatever it is, take 2, survive, be okay, Pain Split, get it down by a lot, he'll recover, I Pain Split again, it's fine. So we play that game. This Weezing is pretty standard, all things considered, but I think Weezing matches up really, really well against so much of his team, including Nihilego, Como-O. It does fine against Donphan, it does fine against the Meganium, the Zangoose, and the Mega Scizor, so I just wanted it to handle most of those threats. In case those did come, I think Weezing is going to be tough for him to break down. I think it's got a really good chance of sitting in on the field, being a pretty safe switch into a lot of things, and being able to whittle down his team over time. And finally, we have Kyurem Black. I did not nickname this Kyurem this week. I completely forgot to do that. So we are just going to be using Kyurem, the Kyurem Black. It is going to be holding a Choice Scarf and rocking Earth Power, Hidden Power Fire, Ice Beam, and Focused Blast. Max special attack, but timid nature allows it to outspeed a Como-O after a Dragon Dance, even if it's Jolly. So, with that Choice Scarf and Oko it with Ice Beam. So this thing is really designed as a Como-O check. Obviously, it's not a counter. I can't hard switch into a Como-O. I can't take any attack from that thing. But I can outspeed it, and I can kill it in one hit with an Ice Beam. Additionally, Earth Power hits Nihiligo stupid hard. It hits Tapu Koko super hard. Hidden Power Fire for the Mega Scizor, and Focus Blast for the Porygon 2 and the Zangoose. But most often, I'm probably just going to switch in and click Ice Beam. That handles the Donphan, that handles the Como-O, that handles just about everything. Nothing loves taking it. And this thing, I mean, yeah, it's much higher base physical attack, but I am running a special set this week because there weren't any physical attacks I felt were super necessary on this set to make it better. Most of the attacks I wanted were special, including Earth Power, Hidden Power Fire, and Ice Beam. And so I just decided that I was going to run fully special this week and not worry about it too much. Now, obviously, the 68 special defense, trying to make this thing as especially bulky as possible, but at the same time, Porygon 2, obviously, you can see still is going to download physical attack, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice anything else anywhere else, and the best I could do would have been to make it equal defense and special defense, but it's better to know what the Porygon 2 is going to do, in my opinion, than to guess what the Porygon 2 is going to do. So if it does download special attack, I mean, that's fine. It's not ideal, but I do have some answers to the Porygon 2, including the Empoleon, including some other stuff. So that is the team this week that we are going to be using. Hopefully we are able to get that W. I mean, his team is terrifying, but I do think I match up decently well against it. So hopefully you guys get to see that tomorrow. I will see you guys with that battle tomorrow bright and early, and we will see what happens. Will we be 1-2, or will we fall to last in the division 0-3? Hopefully you guys are well until then. Take care, everybody.